Hello, I am an alumni of Leadership Macon class of 2012, arguably the best class ever. And I will say that if you don't think we're the best class ever, we did think up the rooftop bar here in Macon, and we're just waiting to go to one all together. My name is Koryn Young, and I am excited to be one voice for the Thoughtful Thursday with the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce. My tenure with Macon has spanned just a tad over a decade. I've loved being a tiny piece of things like the Magnolia Soapbox Derby and Bragg Jam and In-Town Macon, Spirits in October, College Hill Corridor, of course Leadership Macon, and so many other amazing things that Macon does. Our community, while flawed, has every bit of magical energy. People here want you to succeed. For every naysayer, there are 15 cheerleaders right behind them. 15 people to call if you need to brainstorm or if you need a volunteer. 15 people who you can call to help start a project, or even if you need advice on a project already started. There are people who will help you get a grant for bright ideas, and 15 more to support you with in-kind. From the very trite of the Men of In-Town Macon calendar to the very seriousness of homelessness and racial disparities, I am continuously pleasantly surprised by my fellow Maconites. I own a small business here in town called Macon Experiences, a small but lovely company that specializes in group tours, wedding planning, and event planning, all of which works hard to be inclusive of race, religion, and sexual orientation. Obviously, COVID-19 has derailed much of my business for 2020, but I look forward to coming back just as strong in 2021. 11 months ago, I was hired to be the engagement coordinator of Bike Walk Macon. I've never been specifically passionate about alternative transportation, but when this job came on the scene, I knew I definitely wanted to be a part of it. Basically, I'm a community planner of sorts, and I have only done fun things, and the job description was aligned with planning cool events, but it also put me in a position to serve my community in a bigger way. So the executive director, Rachel Amana, had already laid the groundwork. I only had to follow a carefully constructed plan and support the many events that brought attention to a more bikeable, walkable Macon. This opened the doors for the executive director to focus more on advocacy, education, and legislation that also includes a complete streets plan. So together we planned bike parties, walkabout Wednesdays, and our signature event Open Streets, where we closed down 2 miles of streets and reimagine it for bikers and walkers and skaters and activities. Fortunate to be an active participant in Macon's first green bike lanes and Macon's first creative crosswalks. That is hands-on with sweat equity. COVID-19 changed everything as we headed into the spring. All of that misting away as our community, our state, our country, and the world faced a pandemic, bringing us all inside, working from home, if we were so lucky to work from home, and putting us all in a place to rethink and pivot. The world changed quickly before everyone's eyes. So, Bike Walk Macon, our board, and the 2 of us we call staff pivoted as well. Our last event being March 14th, we knew would be the last for quite some time. So we went forth with a city walk, shamrock and ride scavenger hunt, bringing 20 teams, 63 people, 25 location partners, and it was literally the last day on March 14th, but we had a great time knowing full well that we wouldn't be back out to do large events. So as we were rethinking from home, we had this amazing board meeting where we brainstormed what the pivot would look like. We came up with virtual Bike Walk Macon, where staff, board members, and the community were invited to share their socially distancing bike rides and walks on our Facebook page using Facebook Live. So technology sort of came into our lives in a big way. This also led to other virtual programming for another program called Jane's Walk, which we don't need to get into, but let's just say virtual Bike Walk Macon became a thing. We also started a very cool program called My Bike, and it's the My Bike photo series, and it was created by Disto Moore, so he was our photographer for the first month, but it's an ongoing series of portraits and profiles of Maconites who use bicycles to get around for more than just specifically recreation. These photos have highlighted and will additionally highlight people who bike to get to work or school, or bike to run errands, or bike to improve their health, to improve their social capacity, all of those things. So how biking has impacted their lives. So together, these images and stories have begun to form a portrait of Macon as an emerging bicycling city. It will continue to highlight a different photographer each month, capturing bicycle commuters. In May of 2021, we will have a gallery showing of the accumulated year with 12 photographers and about 60 or so bicycle models. So we would love for you to support both of these projects by just being a participant. If you walk or bike, please sign up to take us on your journey. 10 minutes or 60 minutes, we'd love to see how you get out of the house on our Facebook Live. You can also be a model for a My Bike photo series, and it's so easy to participate in anything Bike Walk Macon does by signing up on our website, or you can go ahead and find us on Facebook. And our website is bikewalkmacon.com, very simply. Also, please look out for Open Streets with Bike Walk Macon, and in celebration of the pivot, while I talked about Open Streets being just one day, we're actually moving it to a much smaller area, and we'll be doing 3 different projects in 3 different neighborhoods, and so we'll be making that announcement very shortly on how that will go. And so we're excited that while things have had to pivot, that we were able to sort of steer into the curve with what Bike Walk Macon. I also have the great honor of being the executive director of Storytellers Macon. Storytellers is an event held every second Tuesday of the month at Grant's Lounge. A different topic is given each month, and storytellers are invited to speak on that topic. A featured storyteller is asked to join us each month, and topics can range from pet peeves to puberty. So in the spirit of the pivot, in April, we moved to an online format using Zoom and Facebook Live. It will never, ever replace the live experience, but it did pull out an incredible amount of ideas and brainstorming. For one, we realized that live streaming looks good on us. So we moved from our home base at Grants to our actual homes, and now we're going to go ahead and bring the event outside until such time that COVID allows us to get back to Grants. So we'll actually be doing live storytelling events in a local park, so please stay tuned for those details. In addition, we also started a virtual storytellers where once a week we feature one person telling one story on our Facebook Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And to find it, just like our Facebook page, Storytellers Macon, or eventually you'll be able to go to our website. So supporting this group is a matter of just joining us, whether online or in person. Guerrilla storytelling is on its way. We'll be giving people out and about the chance to tell their own story. As we see the racial injustices unfold time and again, we not only want to hear the stories of the people of color affected, but we also want to hear the stories of the justice. I almost single-handedly decided that we would wait to bring storytellers out until things calmed down a little, and then I realized that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. With everything going on in the world today, the injustices that people face in some communities, storytellers should help people from different backgrounds to hear other experiences. So this pivot has been hard. To top it all off, we head into the most important conversation of racism. Both Bike Walk Macon and Storytellers Macon know we have a responsibility not only to be an ally, but to speak our truth on it. So we pivot. We pivot because waiting for the world to return to normal is just not possible. I don't think it's about finding a new normal. I think it's about steering into the turn. In all of the chaos and uncomfortable, it's nice to weed out the positives coming from where we are all at. At both Bike Walk Macon and Storytellers Macon, I'm proud to be a part of whatever I can be to make the world a little better. So thank you for joining me. Again, I'm Koryn, and I hope to see you all out there walking, biking, or telling a story.